If you want to be a part of the conversation before it happens here on YouTube, click that link in the description to join the free Courtside Financial Discord.
What's going on, everyone? My name's Obi, and welcome back to the Courtside Financial Podcast, the podcast where we talk about business and technology. In today's episode, we're going to be diving into the broader EV landscape. I'm a NIO investor and enthusiast, just like many of you guys out there listening, so we will be sharing some original analysis here. It's going to be a super interesting, super insightful, super exciting video. If you're new to the channel, make sure you hit the like button, make sure you hit the subscribe button, and leave a comment down below. Your engagement really does go a long way in helping us to reach a broader audience. And so without further ado, let's get into today's episode. So today we have two topics to discuss. Number one is how the US imposing 100% tariff hike on Chinese electric vehicles. How is that going to affect the competitive landscape? And number two, the ongoing battle in autonomous driving, particularly between companies like Waymo and Tesla. We're talking about the robo-taxi space, and it's a space that I think is worth discussing because it reflects the ongoing innovation going on when it comes to mobility. So anyways, let's dive right in. Let's start with the US imposing a 100% tariff hike on Chinese electric vehicles. This was announced on September 27th. On the surface, it seems like a protective measure for domestic manufacturers in the US. But when you really dig into these numbers, you realize that Chinese EVs, including brands like BYD, are still competitive despite these tariffs. For instance, BYD's lowest priced vehicle is around $12,000. Even after slapping that 100% tariff on it, it still comes in under $25,000. Still cheaper than almost anything available from American manufacturers, including Tesla, which has yet to release an EV under $30,000. So what does this mean for NIO? Well, NIO isn't directly affected by these tariffs since it doesn't really have a US presence right now, but it paints the picture of future competition that NIO will face when they eventually do enter the US market. The Chinese EV industry as a whole is aggressively competitive, not just in terms of pricing, but also in terms of how much they control the EV supply chain, especially when it comes to batteries. Batteries make up about 30% of an EV's total cost, and the US is highly dependent on China for this critical component. In fact, battery imports to the US from China grew by just 40% in 1 year. This suggests that as the US government tries to reduce its reliance on China, they just can't seem to shake China's grip. General Motors, for example, has delayed production at its plant for a full year, and other US battery projects are struggling to get off the ground. For NIO, this could be an opportunity. While it might not be actively trying to penetrate the US right now, one thing's for certain, NIO has expertise in battery technology, particularly with its battery as a service model, which could become a key differentiator when it does decide to eventually expand westward. The US is still grappling with infrastructure problems and affordability problems in its EV ecosystem. NIO's already solved much of these issues in China, where 50% of all vehicle sales are electric vehicles, compared to the US, where only 10% of all new vehicle sales are electric vehicles. So let's put this into perspective. NIO's been building an infrastructure, not just cars. NIO houses, battery swapping stations, and their customer-centric approach have allowed NIO to compete in a market where EVs are definitely more advanced than their US counterparts. If NIO does decide to enter the US market, they'll be walking into a space where competition might struggle to catch up, not just in technology, but in ecosystem development as well. Shifting gears, let's talk about autonomous driving. Tesla and Waymo, of course, are very prominent in this race, and while NIO has made it clear that they won't be entering the robo-taxi market, I think that it's still an important conversation that needs to be had on this channel. Why? Because autonomous autonomous driving is shaping the broader EV landscape in a big way, and NIO is still working on autonomous driving assistance systems that will improve customer experience. So who's really leading the charge here? Waymo, backed by Google's parent company Alphabet, has been working on autonomous driving since 2009. They've been pouring billions into this effort, but despite this, they're still burning cash. They lost $1.13 billion in Q2 alone. Tesla, on the other hand, has taken another route with full self-driving software, which is still very much in development. This competition is a reminder of just how expensive autonomous driving really is. For companies like NIO, watching these two duke it out is very valuable. Tesla has the advantage of a vast data set, millions of miles driven daily, all feeding into their neural networks, making FSD smarter over time. Waymo, on the other hand, uses highly detailed maps and super expensive LiDAR sensors, which drive the cost of the car up significantly, around $140,000 per car. So where does NIO fit into this picture? While NIO might not be chasing the robotaxi market, it's keeping its eye on developments in autonomous driving. NAD, NIO Autonomous Driving System, frequently updates with over-the-air updates, just like Tesla. However, unlike Tesla, NIO's approach has been more conservative in this realm. They're more focused on enhancing driver safety and creating a more positive experience than trying to get into or putting all of their focus on autonomous driving and robotaxis right away. And honestly, that might be the smarter play. Tech is still maturing, and NIO doesn't have to burn billions like Waymo or face the PR risk that Elon Musk is facing when he announces that the robotaxi will be unveiled on this date, then it gets pushed back, or and also, Tesla's faced some PR issues with their full self-driving system as well. Anyways, as the industry moves forward to higher levels of autonomy, NIO has a chance to position itself as a leader in enhanced driving experiences, rather than the high-risk race to full autonomy right off the bat. To sum it all up, the 100% tariff hike on Chinese EVs from the US and the robotaxi race in autonomous driving between Waymo and Tesla are both big news that affects the entire industry of electric vehicles and the future of mobility. NIO, while it may not be directly involved in either of these situations at the moment, stands to benefit by watching how things play out. NIO's ecosystem approach, combined with its customer service approach and technological innovation, position it well to be a big player when the dust settles. So whether it's dealing with tariffs or learning from the costly lessons of autonomous driving, NIO's strategic growth model could help it outlast its competition. Anyways, that's it for the Courtside Financial Podcast today. I hope you found this useful, insightful, helpful, at the very least entertaining. If you found any of those things, hit the subscribe button, click the notification bell icon, share the video, leave a comment down below. All those things really do help out the channel, and we'll catch you in the next installment.